Terram intelligere interstitium. You are here with Prof. Dr. Miljana Zekovic from Montenegro. She is the curator of Montenegro Pavilion at the 19th Biennale Architettura in Venice 2025. She is also a professor at University of Novi Sad, and she is the author of the groundbreaking essay of this project that I can define a living laboratory that intersects biology, tradition, speculative futures. It's really omnicomprehensive. So thank you to be here with me today. Dr. Miljana Zekovic, I would like to ask you as a beginning how you conceive to brought here in Venice this project and what is the meaning, if we can break down, is a Latin title. So you can introduce us in this concept.
Okay, thank you, Simona. It's such a great pleasure to be with you today. And we briefly discussed our pavilion, and you gave me such a nice feedback that I'm still under pressure, under this influence. And I'd like this conversation to bring to your audience a little bit more specific explanations, if you think that they would like to hear something like that. About our pavilion. Well, first of all, I would like to say that I'm not actually from Montenegro. I'm from Serbia. I work at the University of Novi Sad, where I am the professor. But this year I'm working for Montenegro, and I want to really to emphasize this because this is a really, I think, major shift in understanding what a national representation should be, because Montenegro opened the curatorial competition to all the interested parties in the region. So they had a competition for curator, and they took a curator that's not from their country. And I think that is fantastic thing, that something that you already have and that's been represented so many times, somebody else from a side can take another look at, and then you can get to the projects like this one that we have here this year. So thank you also to Montenegro and to you. And regarding your question, so we used the Latin. We were so inspired by Carlo Ratti's topic, and we were really grateful for it because it was really oriented towards future in comparison to something that we had previously, I would dare to say. And we used the Latin title. You read it in Italian, and we were all the time we were like, how shall we pronounce this? And so we are trying to say it as it is in Latin, Terram intelligere interstitium, but to translate it to English, it means to understand the land, interstitium. And the core idea of our project was to position the land as an active archive and not as a passive surface. And that was the core idea. We wanted to understand the land as intelligent and layered and in constant negotiation with human and non-human systems. And I truly hope that our project gave that.
Absolutely. It took me, as I told you before, it took me a while to understand the whole picture of your project because it was such an in-depth scientific work. And so the first thing I have to say that it's much more a scientific researches, and I've been watching also the video you published on YouTube, in which it seems also that you were working with the land so profoundly. So it means that your vision of architecture as a discipline it's much more than figure out on how to construct a building or a piece of furniture. And I think this is, as Carlo Ratti indicates, it's a new way of translating architecture and design, trying to explain something that is really bigger than a normal, construction. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, exactly.
So
And
it was all about your mind. Um,
yes, well, actually, so my curatorial message was exactly what you just said, that architecture is far beyond fixed and static objects, and that it is a mediating interface between a knowledge, species, and worlds. So that is something that our pavilion has in its core, and all the other elements they add to a story that's really multi-layered, as you said. So it's a transdisciplinary, multi-layered project. It's so complex, but I believe that we gave it in a quite understandable manner. So if you spend some time in the pavilion, you get some sort of impression. But when you read, as you said, you've read everything and watched everything, then you add more layers, more layers.
exactly.
Story.
Coming to the logistic part, I would like to delve into the realization, your layout, because it's absolutely people or the audience can see from behind my shoulders, and it's plenty of all over internet of these pics. It's absolutely surreal in a way. And could you describe us how you translate your concept in this place, in this location?
Definitely. So, so as I mentioned, so the project has this subtitle or just this other part of the title. It's called Interstitium, and Interstitium, as science would like us to believe, is a newfound organ in a human body. But we also say that it is an organ in the land, in the body of the land, and it actually refers to spaces that exist in the tissue that are filled with some liquid, and among themselves they function as a communicating system, and we wanted to reinterpret this communicating system in our constellation. So we started with something that comes from history and comes from tradition, which is međa. Međa is a dry stone boundary that you can find in the whole region. So not only in Montenegro, but it's really typical for Montenegro. So this is actually a sort of a border in the land that exists more as a social construct than as a physical border, because that is the place of dialogues, negotiation, ownership, tradition. But at the same time, this dry stone boundary is a habitat of plants and animals and microorganisms. So we wanted to bring that into the pavilion and to bring these microorganisms and their interstitium in life and show what they can do with their intelligence and what we can do in combined ways of intelligence that we can then share. And speaking about the layout, I think so we can see the big image behind you, but maybe I can show some. Okay, so hopefully this is showing, and I can show some a little bit bigger images of what's happening inside. So we have a constellation of 120 polycarbonate forms that are actually a metaphor for a stone and that are brought here. And many of them carry different types of information. So some of them are empty and they just are a member of this swarm intelligence, as we can say. Some of them are carriers of microorganisms that are taken from Montenegrin soil, so from different, all across the Montenegro, from different locations, we collected soil. Then we developed with the Institute of Molecular Genetics and Genetic Engineering from Belgrade, we developed these microorganisms. They cultivated those microorganisms and they started to grow in these polycarbonate forms. So during all these 6 months, different visitors coming at different times can see different things happening inside these bubbles, as we call them. Some of them carry different types of information, like some of them also carry life, like a molecular bacterial nanocellulose, or some of them carry even poetry, and some of them carry, yes, and some of them even carry abstracted drawings of the sites from which the bacteria have been taken. So we have really different multi-layered environment here with as many information as one can actually take and make it into his own narrative.
So in the video that I'm gonna publish on the cover, and it's there is the scenes in which the frame in which your biologist, I think, they went in this forest and they pick from the ground liquid these elements, and so that these elements were grown examined in a laboratory, and they are all different, and they can do all different process, biological process, because I understand a part of them they change colors and they can be applicable on construction sites, because
Yes.
is that so at the application, so they each one of these micro elements, they can become something else.
Of course, and they are becoming something else during all this time. So, for instance, I haven't seen them for a month and a half
Uh-huh.
now. When I go to visit them again in October, I will be faced with a completely different scenery. Some of them, so basically the idea was to take different samples of soil across the whole Montenegro to cultivate bacteria. That is a very special bacterial colonies of streptomycetes. So it's really important that these are good bacteria, because we will really have to be careful about what we are bringing to Biennale, and they are biosafety level 1. So these bacteria are usually used in pharmaceutical industry or in food industry. So they're good bacteria. And in when they're exposed to environmental stimuli like UV light, they develop biopigments. So
Oh,
these biopigments, those are these vivid colors that range through whole color spectrum. So you have deep purples and blacks and deep greens, and on the other side you have red and pink and light yellow colors. And then after some time you harvest those pigments and you exactly have this type of product, as we can see here. In our first plan, and that is the pigment that can be used in architecture and civil engineering, and actually can be a substitute for this type of colors and pigments that we are using today. They all have petrochemical elements in them. They are hazardous. They have heavy metals in them, and they're really dangerous, and we are offering a natural alternative to that.
Very interesting. It seems, as far as I understood from my research, that these elements are only from Montenegro.
Yes, they are only
So,
from Montenegro.
for instance, Italy, that is nearby, just in front of, we don't have it.
You have it. You
No.
also have it. So that's really what's interesting. These are how to say, these are really site-specific taken bacteria,
Okay.
but you also have that
Ah,
bacteria
okay.
in soil, so you can do the same thing. So actually it's not just some small local thing, but we are on a small local scale trying to show that we can have a big impact in global environmental crisis, and to show that we have to fight together with big countries. We are the small one. We have to fight together to come to some resilient and sustainable future.
And how you apply these researches and your project in practical way in the nowadays industries or solution, what you have in mind?
So what's actually being this is a real research, not only I think that science actually needs architecture and art in order to come to the wider audience. Nobody knows what's happening behind the closed doors of laboratories until something is a final product. So I think that Biennale and similar exhibitions are actually excellent places where architecture as a mediator can show what's happening in laboratories, and what's happening in the behind the closed doors in the laboratory now is that scientists are trying to understand how sustainable this type of extracting biopigments is, and what exactly happens to material like concrete, for instance, when you apply this type of color in it. And I have this beautiful story, like an insight of it, is that even when you apply this type of pigments in a concrete and you paint concrete in this
Yeah.
color, these microorganisms still stay alive, and they do change over time,
So you,
continuous.
if you build a house that is orange, and then you can have a kind of restyling of
Yeah,
your house naturally. Oh, that's
yeah,
amazing.
it won't become green, but it will get this gradient of orange through time. And I
Oh,
think it will be a beautiful living thing. I mean, we can actually.
oh, let's work on it. Yeah, this is a news that has to be spread all over, because I think it could be sustainable and also a much more um, enjoyable way of seeing buildings. Yeah. And as far as it concerned the audience engagement,
Mhm.
what did you think how did you think on how?
Well, firstly, I have to say that we were really lucky because the Montenegrin Pavilion is not in the spot of Biennale. It's not in Giardini and it's not in Arsenale. It's on Campo San Lorenzo in Arte Nova space. And at first, somebody may think, well, isn't it better to be all together at those spots where Biennale is dominantly present? But we thought that this is actually fantastic because, from the whole Biennale spectacle, you take a deep breath and you walk to the Campo San Lorenzo, and then you enter this really still world of this microbial time and processes that's happening in our pavilion. So we wanted to offer our audience a choice on how to observe this installation. So we have, as we define them, observers and explorers. So these observers are perhaps interested in only standing aside, watching the whole constellation as a swarm and just walking around it and observe it from a distance. But also we have these explorers that can actually come also inside. There are spots where you can actually get inside of this installation and go near bubbles and actually observe this change. So if you are living in Venice, for instance, you're visiting this like every other day for 2 weeks, you can see the change.
A good reason to come back from time to time and have a look at what's going on inside.
Yeah.
Amazing. And I also read about the sounds that you use to
Yes, well,
enrich the work, and it's the sound of the soil, isn't it?
well, actually, it's a sound installation. So this is altogether, this is an immersive installation. So it was supposed to get you inside of it. You should be immersed in it. So we do have all these components that make one installation immersive. We have a very particular soundscape that was designed especially for our installation. And our sound designer, Miloš Hadžić, made it. And actually, it does represent a sort of audio interpretation of the boundary of that border. So
Oh.
he made a space inside and space outside. And if you carefully listen to this sound, it's beautiful. But it's also a beautiful segment of the whole installation because the sound somehow makes you more immersed inside. And also light is also very specifically designed. And for instance, the light helps us to look at these bubbles as they are floating. If you were in the pavilion, you saw that on photography it's a little bit different, but when you enter the space, you almost don't see the strings because the lighting design is done in a really specific way to make this installation floating. And we are really grateful to Boris Butorac, our lighting designer. So we do have all these aspects of the installation, and also both observers and explorers, our audience, they can enjoy all these layers in a specific manner.
The last question, and then we're gonna give more information about the visit. I would like to know which were the main challenges during the work in progress and during the installation of the pavilion in Venice.
Well, this is not going to be a very interesting answer because as we all know, time is the biggest problem always in realization of any projects for any exhibitions ever. So especially in our context, not only Montenegrin, but also the regional context, where we don't leave enough time for the project to develop. So we started working in February, can you believe that? And then we had to
Wow.
open in May, and we did all of this from February till May. And some other pavilions, they were talking like 18 months and we are here. And we said, what 18 months? We had only like 4 months. But actually, so that was the biggest limitation and the biggest worry. But the team was really set its mind on this project. Everybody was 100% in the project. And I can just be really happy that we managed to find some answers even when we thought that we were reaching the dead end. Also, transportation, I have to say, was a challenge because you never know how somebody is going to react on bringing living matter in European Union. You know that Montenegro and Serbia, they're not in European Union, so this was like a logistical nightmare, but we didn't have any problems in the end with that. And that was actually the challenge. The project was so beautiful, and everybody was with their full hearts in the project that I can't remember any really serious disruption on this path.
Thank you very much. It has been very intriguing conversation, and it has been really useful for me to understand and to put together all the information I have read until now, and so it's absolutely fascinating. I suggest my audience and also all the people that didn't have till now the chance to visit, to see and to step into the Montenegro Pavilion. And thank you very much to the brilliant mind of Professor Dr. Miljana Zekovic. She is the curator of this Montenegro work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Simona, very much.